Today, I'm going to be running you through the exact travel method I've used to transform dozens of executives around the globe. My name is Tim Johnson, I'm a physical training instructor for the military, and now I own Corporate Performance Healthcare. So what we're going to cover is first and foremost the nutrition plan, or what I like to call not a nutrition plan, tracking and why you're tracking the wrong things, how you should actually be training when you're overseas, and finally the planning aspect. So let's start off with the first segment, not a nutrition plan. Now here is where myself and 99% of most fitness coaches, personal trainers disagree. I don't believe a nutrition plan is the solution to your problem. If you're anything like me, your schedule's unpredictable, you travel around a lot, you're never in the same location for too long, and you don't actually have the time to prepare your meals. And even if I were to write you, or anyone was to write you, the best nutrition plan in the world, the odds of you sticking to it because of the way you live your life is very low. So you're probably asking yourself the question, well, if the nutrition plan's not an answer to my nutrition problem, then what is? Well, let me walk you through it. First and foremost, what you need to do is you need to buy yourself a pair of travel scales. These are small, they can fit in your luggage, even your carry-on, and this is going to give yourself the ability to weigh yourself every single day. This is absolutely essential. What you're going to do is you're going to weigh yourself every single day, first thing in the morning, immediately after you wake up, right after you've been to the bathroom, because this is generally when you're going to get the most accurate reading. Then, at the end of the week, you're going to calculate the weekly average weight. You do this to mitigate any fluctuations, mitigate water retention, glycogen retention, so that ultimately you're getting an accurate representation of your body composition. The following week, you're going to do the exact same thing. Then you're going to compare the differences between those two average weekly weights. Now, this is going to differ depending on your goal, but if your goal is to lose weight, I generally recommend looking at an average weekly weight loss of anywhere between 0.5 kilos and 1 kilo per week. Then you follow a very simple system. If the weight loss isn't as fast as you would like it to be, decrease the amount of food that you're eating. If your weight loss is faster than you'd like it to be, increase the amount of food that you're eating. Keep it very simple, don't overcomplicate this. If you want my peak performance habit tracking system that does all of the maths for you, you can join our corporate performance portal as the top link in the description. Now let's move to segment 2. Should you be tracking? Should you be tracking your calories? What should you be tracking? The short answer is no. You don't need to track your calories if you're tracking your weight, provided your speed of weight loss is exactly where you want it to be for you and your goal. You've already got that part covered. So what should you track? Protein. This is absolutely essential, and even to this day, whenever I change to a new location, I spend the first 1 or 2 weeks tracking my protein intake. Ideally, you want to hit 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Why is this essential? A couple reasons. Number one, protein actually allows you to build the most muscle. Muscle is the most thermogenic tissue. This raises your basal metabolic rate, which means you burn more calories when you're doing nothing. So when you're sitting down, working, your metabolic furnace is burning hotter, so to speak. Secondly, it's the most thermogenic macronutrient. This means your body burns the most amount of calories simply digesting protein. Around 25% of the calories you consume via protein are actually burnt simply breaking it down into amino acids. And thirdly, it's the most satiating. It's going to keep you full, it's going to limit your craving and stop you from binging out on anything else. Now, in order to track protein accurately, you need to have a relatively good idea of how much protein are in what foods. So if you want my full protein cheat sheet, again, it's in the corporate performance portal. We have a load of resources in there. You can go down there and you can check that out. And that essentially covers the nutrition side of things. Next up, segment 3, how should you actually be training? If your goal is fat loss, all of your training should be focused around hypertrophy. In other words, building muscle. Muscle is the most thermogenic tissue, burns the most calories. It's going to increase your metabolism the most and basically make fat burning autonomous. Whether you have access to a gym, whether you use a resistance band training program like a lot of our clients do, whether it's simply body weight, it actually doesn't matter. It only needs to follow these 3 principles. Firstly is mechanical tension. This is one of the stimuli for muscle growth. You need to increase your mechanical tension over time. This is called progressive overload. You either need to increase the amount of weight that you're lifting, the load that you're lifting, or increase the number of reps and sets that you're doing in order to consistently increase the challenge which you're giving your body. Your muscle won't grow unless it has a stimulus or reason to grow. So if you were using resistance bands, you could add an extra set, add an extra couple of reps, potentially increase the weight on the resistance band. And the goal is just to add something every week, as long as you're trying to train harder in this session than you did in the previous session. Number 2 is metabolic overload. So this is the second stimuli for muscle growth. And this is essentially where the muscle becomes so acidic due to lactic acid buildup that the enzymes in your muscle are like, oh, chill out. And as a result, your muscles need to grow and increase the surface area in order to reduce the acidity. How do you do this? You do this through increasing your time under tension. My personal favorite way is to use a lighter weight and do more reps. Generally, I'll use the first 3 to 4 exercises in the workout to focus on increasing mechanical tension, and I'll focus the last 2 on improving my metabolic overload. And the third stimulus for muscle growth is muscle damage. How do you create muscle damage? Through a slow tempo. The slower the eccentric or downward phase of a contraction, the more muscle damage you can create. Generally, I stick to a 3-1-2 tempo. This means the eccentric or downward phase is around 3 seconds. There's a 1 second hold at the bottom of the rep, and then a 2 second concentric phase or upward phase of the movement. So if you improve your mechanical tension, have some exercises focused towards metabolic overload, as well as lift with a slow tempo, you're going to maximize the amount of muscle you can put on. And finally, we have planning. So before I go overseas anywhere, I always look at where I'm staying. I always try and make sure I have a location that either has a gym itself, is near to a gym that I know I can use, is close to a local supermarket so I know that I can go down and get some food if need be, potentially a Whole Foods, or even just close to some good local restaurants that I know serve high protein food. This generally all comes down to location, so I recommend that if you are traveling, make sure to have a look at where you're staying, and if you can choose, make sure it is close to food outlets, gyms, etc. And that's essentially it. That is the 4-stage process that I've used to stay in great shape whilst overseas, and that many of my executive clients have also used. If you want to find out more information or you want help implementing the strategy, all you need to do is scroll down into the link in the description. You can book a free health and performance audit with myself, and we can walk through exactly what the strategy would look like for you and your lifestyle. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. If you found it valuable, there's going to be plenty more content like this. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you back here very, very soon. Adios.